Hey everybody, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here. On today's new segment called Xterra Talk, I'm going to be kind of running through one of my mods that I've made in my truck. There doesn't seem to be a lot of info out there about Xterras. So again, now that I've had one for about 4 years now, I've been on a number of overlanding trips. I've modified it for overlanding. I'm going to try and just kind of run through my mods and some of the things that I've learned about the truck, and hopefully that stuff will be helpful for you guys. So let's get started on this first one. Today, I'm going to be talking about how I mounted my CB, my Uniden CB, up through my glasses holder above my my center console from the roof, and then also how I mounted the antenna at the back of the truck. So I'm going to show you, in detail kind of how I did that, where I went. I'm also going to look for, there are some links. So when I first learned, the newx.org was kind of my main place where I would go. So I'm going to look for some of those links. I'm going to put them down below as well. And also, since it's in basically the same place, I'm going to touch on the diff breather modification that I made as well. So again, if you want to learn more about that stuff, stay tuned. All right, guys. So as I mentioned, today I'm going to be talking about how I mounted my Uniden CB from my sunglasses holder up here. I like this placement. A fairly common placement on Xterras is sort of down here underneath of the buttons there in the middle. I don't hate that. I just think it's kind of low and it's kind of hard to see and get to. So when I was first thinking about it, I was just thinking, especially with how short these, sort of OEM cords are for them, it'd be nice to have it up here. I'm right-handed, so I can just reach right up and grab it and pull it straight down to my mouth. Made it a little bit easier to access. So for me, that was kind of what made sense. Again, I hadn't really seen anybody do that, but I just figured I would just give it a shot. So what I ended up doing, and I don't know how far down I'm gonna, actually, hold on. Let me pull the radio off there. So what I actually did, and yeah, I can't quite get up in there, but all that I did, right, was I measured. So I took this is the OEM little piece of metal that goes, or that comes with the CB. I popped this thing off and I basically folded down the sunglasses holder up there, and then I held the metal up to it and I took a marker and I marked the line, and then I used my Dremel and I just dremeled a little slit through it that matched that metal. That's literally how easy it was. It was a piece of cake. So then I dropped that metal thing down through there. I held the radio up and I attached the bolts on the side, and that was it. That was literally it. And then as you can see, then the cords come out here, and I actually fed mine that go back to the antenna up into the headliner, and then they run down along the headliner up here, and then down through the A-pillar, and then down through the door, and then all the way back to the back. So again, as I mentioned, I'm going to show you the outside of the truck and how I've got the CB antenna mounted back there. But again, super simple. If you're familiar with Xterras, the rear taillights come off, and there's actually some access to those from the back. So again, I will show you that. All right, guys, so I'm trying to show you here. The CB cord runs up through behind the tail light here. This other tube here is my diff breather. So if you're familiar with Xterras, or really any trucks, it's got a rear diff breather that's down on the axle, which is really low if you're going through water crossings and things. So a pretty common mod that most Xterra guys that are going to go off-road will make is they will run a length of tubing up to behind their taillight there. So there you can see that right there. And then along with it, this is the CB antenna that I ran through the length of the cab. Comes out right back here. And then this is just like a generic CB mount. And again, I just put a couple screws in back behind the taillight there, and then mounted my CB. Honestly, I'm using a 3-foot Firestik, and it's fairly nice, but it's kind of short for the truck, so it's not really the tallest thing on the truck, so I don't get that great a reception, and I especially can't transmit very well. So I'm considering getting a longer antenna, or possibly some sort of like a whip antenna that I could, bungee down to the roof rack or something when I'm not using it, and then on trips I could flip it out. There are also some mounts that I've seen that you can actually fold them down and up, and if I might get one of those as well and keep using the same antenna but mounted up on the roof. So time will tell. All right, guys, so that was it. So again, I hope that information was helpful for you. Please definitely, if you have an Xterra, if you're interested in Xterras, particularly second gens, especially if you're into camping and overlanding and off-roading and things like that, definitely consider clicking the subscribe button down below. Click the like button if you got info from the video, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys too. There may be other ways to do this stuff. There may be things that you guys have thought of or things that you'd like to see for how I did it on my truck. So comment down below, let me know what you guys are thinking, and join the conversation. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.